All right, I want to welcome on the legend. If you know college basketball, you know Coach Bob Huggins of West Virginia, Press Virginia. Coach, how you doing?
I'm well.
Great, that's fantastic. I want to start off right away that I think you are the smartest coach in the world just so because you always have a barstool waiting for you on the court. There's no reason to go back and forth every time. You'd be exhausted. Do you have like a certain guy that you're a stool guy?
Yeah, I was a little concerned when we went to the Final Four that they wouldn't let me have my stool.
That's a big problem. You need it.
No, I gotta have it. I got two artificial hips, so it's hard for me to those little chairs getting up and down stuff.
You got two fake hips?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's fucking crazy.
So, Coach, obviously the 2020-2021 college basketball season's unlike anything we've ever seen. And one major difference we're seeing from a coaching perspective is the lack of suits. Now, I know you've been anti-suits for a long time now. So first off, can you just explain to us why you've been anti-suits and how you feel about the other coaches joining you off of the suit train for this season?
Well, I used to wear suits. I wasn't very comfortable in them, but I wore them. And we were playing, I don't know, somebody, Marquette, somebody, and I had sweat through my shirt, my tie, my coat, and I'm walking in the locker room. My AD said, you need to put a pullover or something on. You're going to hurt yourself here. So I went and put a pullover on. Games that we win the game, I'm walking off the floor. He said, I've always thought coaches should always wear pullovers. I thought that was a green light. so I wore pullovers all after that. And then, when they wanted to get rid of me at Cincinnati, they used that I didn't wear a suit, that I wore pullovers, even though the fat guy who was my boss told me to wear a.
I mean, it's true. If I heard that, I'd be wearing pullovers the entire time.
Why not? I mean, you kind of do anyways, don't you?
Yeah, I do. This is probably the nicest outfit I've worn in years.
I wanted to talk to you, Coach. I know your dear friend, Billy Hahn, has been your assistant for a long time. He's described it as saying working for Bob Huggins was the best situation I've been a part of. I've heard through the grapevine he's a bit of a character. What's your favorite story? I mean, you guys go back a long time. What's your favorite story with Coach Hahn?
Oh, shoot. I've known Billy. Let me tell you how far I go back with Billy. I go back with Billy about 1971. I visited the University of Maryland. That's when they were going to be the UCLA of the East, and they had great players, great players. And Billy was a freshman or a sophomore at Maryland. I went in for an official visit. Billy was my host for the weekend. Obviously, I didn't go to Maryland after that weekend.
That's 1971. That's a long time. Yeah. That's awesome. Nice. So you're assistant and everything.
Yeah. So, Coach, obviously, back to the topic of this season. You guys are coming off a good game against Gonzaga. You have Florida in the Big 12 SEC in January. Richmond upcoming, but actually by the time this interview airs, it'll already play Richmond. We're interviewing Tuesday. You play Richmond tomorrow. So how are you able to finagle and schedule such a gauntlet of a non-conference slate when there is such a limited window to get those games in?
Well, I'd like for you to explain to me what was so wonderful about the Gonzaga game.
I was going to say.
You played tough against them. I thought it was a good game. I like to stay positive.
Yeah. Yeah, second place is for losers.
Yup, it is. I mean, it was a great game, but yeah, they did lose. I mean, I don't know, Jake. He kind of put you on your ass there.
Yeah, he got me. Yeah.
I need to know. Oh, what's up?
Well, our operations guy's terrific. Josh Eiler is really terrific, and he had every school and who was playing who when and so forth and so on. I mean, we've changed things. We did 4 different scouts before our first game in the Bad Boy Mower Classic. So it's been rough. I mean, it's been hard, but some people with can't play against us because of the COVID-19, and then other people get well, and Josh has done a terrific job. the Gonzaga game came about. We're sitting there. We're in South Dakota, and I saw it go across the bottom that Tennessee had to withdraw from the game, and so I called my friends at ESPN and said, "Hey, we'll take that spot."
That's awesome that you could just do that. Like, you just saw it on TV. It's like, all right, we want to play the number one team right now.
Yeah, well, we did, and then they were great, and I think they got their money's worth as well.
For sure.
It's amazing. Coach, you've always had a reputation of being a player's coach. Everyone knows about the Deshaun Butler injury, but I read the article about when Kenyon Martin went down, you did the same thing. You just said the game wasn't on national television. And a lot of these players have come back to visit you. I've read, those relationships. What goes into building a relationship with a player as far as being a player's coach? You hear that all the time, but what really goes into that, whether it's on or off the court?
Well, I think it's relationships. And I think it's the fact that they can trust you. They can trust you when things are good. They can trust you when things are bad. They trust you whenever, we all make mistakes. I've made more than my share probably, but you gotta be there for them. And I have always felt like that's part of my responsibility as a coach, is to try to help those guys in any way we can possibly help them to, one, do really what they came to school for, be the best player they could possibly be, and then secondly, to do a good job educationally to where they can graduate and go on and do whatever it is that they want to do with their life. So, but I have had a great relationship with guys from the time I was a grad assistant at Ohio State, through Walsh College in Akron, and so. I don't know. I enjoy being around them.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
So it makes it easier.
I
Some
could
guys
be
want to be around them, Some guys don't want to be around their players. I enjoy being around our players,
I could be completely wrong, but I've heard that you take every year you take your players to the coal mines.
Not every year.
You have, right? I love that. I would run through a brick wall for my coach. He brings me to the coal mines and shows me how it is. I love it.
Well, I think it's important that people understand, or our guys understand, the people that are paying money to come and watch them play. And I was fortunate enough as a young kid, they took me down in the mine and said, boy, this isn't what you want to do for the rest of your life. And it's had a lasting impact on me.
Yeah, it just shows exactly who you're playing for. Play your hearts out for these people spending their hard-earned money. So yeah, I love that part about it. I was just happy you actually do it.
Coach, so I've been to a handful of West Virginia's NCAA tournament games, and I was a neutral fan, but the one thing I left the arena both times thinking, and these guys thought I was crazy the other day when I brought it up, was the "Let's Go Mountaineers" chant. To me, it just stuck in my head every time. It's the catchiest tune in college basketball. When you're on the floor and there's a big moment going on, do you block that out, or is it catchy for you too?
No, I don't block it out at all. I don't want to block it out. I'll tell you guys and I've done this for I think it's like 43 years now. The greatest moment that I had was we win the Big East tournament in Madison Square Garden, the Mecca of college basketball. And I'm standing there and I'm looking around, and it was a sea of gold. It was just an absolute sea of gold. And of course they're chanting "Let's Go Mountaineers." And I'm standing there, I'm looking at that, and I mean I couldn't help it. I get tears running down my face because it means so much to the people here in this state. We're the professional team. We don't have an NBA franchise. We don't have an NFL franchise. We don't have really any professional franchise. We are it. And to be able to win the Big East tournament and have our people be able to walk up and down the streets of the largest city in the world and be proud is really a neat thing.
It was nice that they spelt the T-shirts right that year too, Coach.
Yeah.
I remember the misspelling on the NIT championship shirts the year before.
Yeah. Well, you got to stay on top of them, you know.
Exactly.
Not everyone's as smart as we are.
There you go.
How's it been this year, obviously, with no fans, and is it hard to get used to as a coach? I know the players that have to be it's a little weird. It's like playing a scrimmage or like in a LA Fitness gym. It sounds like you hear on TV. We hear the squeaking and everything. How has it been as a coach with no fans or anything?
Well, it's like practice, kind of.
Yeah.
It's strange. You know, you keep looking over at those cutouts, waiting for them to stand up and say something. You know? It has been different. It's been it's like honestly, it's like practice. You're right. I mean, you hear the sneakers squeaking, and the atmosphere is more like a practice than what it is a game.
And your players can't say anything. Like if they're going to hear everything you say. They can't like say, I didn't hear what you said, Coach. Sorry about that. It's like they could hear you right and loud and clear.
I worry sometimes about what they say. Those are audible as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you've got a reputation for the long practices, and I know your father won 3 state titles in high school. You attribute a lot of that to him, but what was the best lesson you've ever learned from him as far as coaching-wise?
Oh, geez, that's hard because I learned a lot of things from him. I mean, he, you know, a 4-hour practice for him was kind of like he gave us a break, you know. And he was not just a great basketball coach, but he was a great psychiatrist as well. He kind of tricked you into doing what, you know, he wanted you to do, and you're thinking you're doing it because you want to do it, and it really wasn't the case. But you know, he was a smart guy. But I grew up as a little kid. I grew up with a ball in my hand as a little kid, and him taking me, you know, wherever, to the park, to little league games, to, you know, whatever. I mean, I played whatever it was they were playing that day.
I feel like that is a good sign of a coach where it's like you have your players thinking they're doing this all like, I'm going to prove coach wrong, like I'm doing this for me, but like you really did want them to do that.
Well, you know, I'm not opposed to tricking them.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. I mean, I'm tricked every single day. So
we had to convince this man that Rhode Island itself was a state last week.
Doesn't seem like a state. It's in the map. They got arrows pointing to it. You're not really a state if you need an arrow pointed to it.
Well, I went to South Dakota. We played in South Dakota, so that I have officially been to all 50 states.
You've been to every single state.
Every single state. You know, when you do this as long as I've done it, and you go out and recruit, you know, whatever it is, 75 to 100 days a year, you kind of start to know your way around a little bit, you know.
What brought you to Alaska?
We played in an Alaskan shootout.
Wow.
Actually, that was when we beat Duke, the #1 ranked team in the country.
Yeah, you had to say that, huh?
Got 2 Duke fans next to me.
Well, we tricked them.
No, I remember that game well. Late pass for a layup, right? Beat him at the buzzer, pretty much.
Well, actually, a dunk. He kind of like had his teeth on the rim. But
it's really putting our face there.
Yeah.
It was pretty emphatic.
That's great.
So with all of the traveling you've done in your career, probably some downtime while traveling. Now, rumor has it, one of your favorite TV shows is Naked and Afraid. Can you confirm those reports, and what draws you to that show?
Well, Naked and Afraid, I was in Florida. We have a condo, and you know, my wife and I think one of my daughters were there, and I'm just flipping through the channels. I'm bored to death, you know. I love Florida. I hate the bugs.
Oh,
just
the worst.
Can't stand the bugs, you know. So when the sun starts to go down and the bugs come out, I head inside. So I'm inside just flipping through the channels. It said Naked and Afraid. I thought, wow, this ought to be interesting. So I put it on, and it's, you know, have you ever watched it?
Yeah.
I mean, those people are now. They're absolutely nuts to do some of the things that they do and eat what they eat, and it's a pretty bizarre deal. But you know, it's out of the ordinary. I mean, who wants to watch Ozzie and Harriet? You know,
I agree. I don't understand why they're naked. Like, it could just be like afraid, but I don't. You know what? It adds a little twist to it.
Yeah. I think the naked is like that's the catch steal.
Yeah,
you know? That's why naked comes first.
Exactly. Afraid and naked.
Afraid and naked. It's naked and afraid.
That's.
Right?
I honestly wouldn't watch Afraid and Naked. I don't think I would. I feel like have you picked up anything during like quarantine? I feel like you're just like it's basketball, sleep, and then recruiting and back to basketball.
That's pretty much how it has been.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's so different, you know, being at home. I mean I actually started doing some things around the house. I was so bored.
What's your top hobbies in the house to kill some time?
Yeah.
Watching TV, pretty much.
Watching Naked and Afraid.
Trying to find a game or Naked and Afraid, you know.
Exactly.
I love that.
Coach, I've always heard that you're a very funny guy. You love going out with the assistants afterwards, and like you said, you love being around the players. Jake has done some PA work. I've worked the book and the clock at different games.
He's done none of it. Like, he's done like Pee-wee basketball games. He's just a clock guy.
I've done play-by-play, not PA reading.
All right, I've made my bones. So you always hear those interactions sometimes with the coaches and the referees, and I've heard some of your Hugginisms are hilarious. You once said that one of your players, if he threw 2 more in the stands, he'd have a triple-double. What is the best line that even you laughed at that you had to a ref, and what's the best retort the ref came back with?
I don't know. There's been so many of them over the years. But, it's not what people think. Sometimes people see me with an, got an official and we're talking about something entirely different. We're not, you get to know those guys. And I think what happened was a good thing in the summertime when all the AAU stuff started. And then those guys, they got paid again. They get paid again to teach the younger guys how to screw up like they did. and so they get paid in the summertime, but they're there. We're there to recruit kids, to watch kids play. And we get to have, I think, a lot more interaction, which I think makes it a better game. It's so much easier to trust. I mean, you're going to get some bad calls, but if you know the guy and he just missed it. He just blew the call. He wasn't trying to. Makes you feel a whole lot better.
How does the empty stands affect the relationship with the officials? Do you have to be more careful about what you're saying because they can probably pick up anything, or is it the same approach?
I think they heard what I said when we had fans.
Yeah, I think they did too.
I don't think that was an issue.
I think I heard it on TV. I don't think it's even as that.
I don't think I've ever had an issue communicating that way.
It's true.
Fans, no fans.
One other question is does anyone call it Dub VU?
No, not that I know of.
That's what I'm saying. I said the same thing. We had some fan calling. I was like, yeah, Dub VU. I was like, I've never heard that. Now, like Press Virginia, that's one of the best names you could have. And I feel like, does your team just like, I feel like Press Virginia is one of the craziest things ever because it's just always like, it's a pain in the ass to play Bob Huggins every time. Do you take pride in that too?
We owe a lot to the Press Virginia thing. We owe a lot to Javon Carter and
That's
Dexter.
What I was gonna say, yeah.
Married Adrian. Those guys were terrific. And it's hard, it's hard. It's hard to practice that stuff. And they enjoyed it. They had a good time. And JC actually 2-time National Player of the Year. Tell me one time when a 6'1" guard was the 2-time National Defensive Player of the Year.
Never.
It was, but it was, it was good. It was we were able to take advantage of what he did best. So, I mean, and that's really what it is. You try to evaluate it and try to do or have them do what they do best and stay away from what they can't do. Because everybody wants to do what they can't do, seemingly.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch but if there's a ball in the gym, they'll pick it up and shoot it and not a chance to make it. But everybody picks it up and shoots it.
I would love to sing.
That's what I tell our guys. I mean, you're like that guy came in the gym, picked it up and shot it. Had no chance to make it.
That's 100% me. I'll make a brick every time.
Right. So
yeah, I mean, do what you can do, man.
So based off of those guys and the foundation they've built, you guys at least 20 wins in 5 of the last 6 seasons. What do you attribute to the winning culture? Is it just the personality of the guys you're recruiting combined with their basketball skills? What type of guys do you look for to keep that winning culture intact?
Well, I've got a great staff. You know, I think Larry Harrison was with me when we went to Cincinnati and started that deal at Cincinnati. And Larry was with me for 10 or 11 years there, and then got a head coaching job and spent a little bit of time in the NBA. And then when I came back here, he came with me. Eric Martin played for me, and was a heck of a player for me for a couple years. And then I hired him at Kansas State because he wanted to get into coaching. He did it the right way. You know, he started coaching some high school and then some junior college. And then I thought, you know, he was ready to come in and do it. Ronnie Everhart, I've known since Ronnie was a little kid. Ronnie used to rebound for me. If I had a you know, not so good a game, I'd wait till everybody left the Coliseum, get a ball and come out and start shooting. And Ronnie was sitting in there waiting, and he'd rebound for me. He'd actually stayed in my room sometimes because he couldn't get back to Fairmont. So, you know, I've got a great staff. I'm blessed. Josh Eilert's terrific, as I said earlier. You know, with what he's done with the schedule and everything, he's a very, very bright guy and was a player at Kansas State. You know, so has some knowledge on it about the Big 12 that certainly we didn't have.
Definitely an impressive coaching tree too, as well. Frank Martin and Mick Cronin. What goes into? I know, you know, when they're on your staff, they're in charge of film and practice stuff. But what goes into, like, I guess, how much time do you put into mentoring them, as far as taking your style?
Those guys are way, way beyond me mentoring them. They've been with me for what? I don't know how long we've been here. However long we've been here, we've all been together. So they're way beyond me mentoring. You know, and you said you talked about the coaching tree. You guys got to get Andy Kennedy on. Mm-hmm. Andy Kennedy's the funniest coach in America.
That is what we will do. Make that happen. We'll ask you for that. We can have that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, guys. His wit is beyond comparison. You ought to go we did a podcast, Frank Martin, Andy Kennedy, and I, of which the people that listened to it, I think there was only about 6, but the people that listened to it raved about how funny it was, and it was primarily Andy.
Well, I think we know one of our next guests going to happen.
We got to get our hands on that podcast. It seems like it needs more listens.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Well, man, your mean shouldn't have a problem.
It's true.
I had one more thing, Coach. You said the Press Virginia, we talked about how tough and the culture of your teams. Do you think it's harder as you know, have more seasons under your belt and kids kind of seem to have things handed to them, that it's harder to find those tough kids who want to play defense or, you know, willing to work? It looks like once things go tough, they kind of bail now. Is the kind of the culture of America?
Well, it's not our culture, though. It may be America's culture, but it's not our culture. And you know, I've found that guys will do what you demand that they do. Mm-hmm. You know? And if you demand that they do this, and I mean, there's got to be ramifications. You know, if you don't do it, you don't play, and that's your fault. You know, it's like guys will always say, you know, Coach, what do I got to do to play? Play better.
It's just true.
No, it's really pretty simple. Play better. You know, I mean, you don't play well, you shouldn't play. And if you don't work hard, why would you expect to do well? I mean, it's life. You know, it's basketball is not any different than life. It's really not. I mean, you know, if you're lazy in basketball, you're not going to play. If you're lazy in life, you're going to have a tough life. No, unless your family is loaded and they left it all to you, you know, and then you probably screw it up. And I know a lot of guys that had that and screwed it up. So
I do love how it's black and white, though. If you're not playing well, you're not going to play. And also, he's the one that asks that question anyone that says anything mean to him on the internet, he blocks. So I mean, he's the biggest pussy
I know
that we have.
Yeah, I never thought I could play for Coach Huggins. So yeah, exactly.
Well, you said that, and I thought you were going to start talking about his basketball ability, and I'm looking and I'm thinking he could be a decent screener.
He's a little heavy for it. It's perfect.
He's a big hammer set guy. That's his go-to.
It's a little wider screen, you know.
I think you'd recruit me. Look at this wingspan, Coach. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Oh, that's impressive.
I'll fucking hit the ground for you. I'll press Virginia for you. He wants no part. I got about maybe 2 possessions in me. After that, I literally just started to go back to the gym now, so give me some time.
I understand that. It's been about probably 23 years since I went back to the gym. So.
No reason to go. You look great. There's no reason to go. All right, well, you guys good?
Yeah, well, Coach, one more thing. Also, we know a foundation dear to your heart is in honor of your mother, the Norma May Huggins Cancer Foundation. How can fans who are listening to this podcast donate and help out in any way possible?
Well, they can write a big check. The best way to do it, they can write a big check and just put the Norma May Cancer Endowment and send it here to the office, and I'll get it to the cancer center, and we go from there. But guys, I'm telling you, we've been blessed. We've raised between $4 and $5 million in a deal, and it's crazy how it happened. You know, when my mom passed, and I've got 2 brothers, 4 sisters, and we're kind of talking about, you know, funeral arrangements. My mom didn't want a funeral; she wanted to be cremated. And wanted to be spread. My dad had a basketball camp. She wanted that's where she wanted to be. And I'm thinking, you know, if we had a showing, I mean, it would have been like a 5-day deal, you know, just nonstop, because my mom meant so much to so many people. And so, you know, we didn't want to do that. We just wanted to make it just family. And then I'm thinking, why do people send flowers and cards and those kind of things? Why don't they send money that would help in research? I mean, to me, that makes so much more sense. So that's what we did. We said, in lieu of cards and flowers, if you would, you know, just send a donation to the Norma May Huggins, and we started it, you know, and people were great, and we have continued on, and my brother Larry has been terrific, working in it and forward, as really all of my siblings, and it's fun. I mean, and we had the fish fry, man. You guys got to come to the fish fry sometime. And we cleared $860,000 last year at a fish fry, and we serve fish, beans, you know, and I mean, we do have beer stations.
Need that.
If you donate enough money, you can get into the, you know, the special room over there. But I mean, I've been blessed. Cal's come in for it. We've had the ESPN crew in. We've had Jerry West has been in. Rod Hunley's been in. Rod Thorne's been in. I mean, it's been fantastic, and people have been unbelievable with their time. You know, which to me is the most important thing. You know, just, you know, for Jerry to fly in from LA and be a part of it. It's been phenomenal, and it's fun. You know, I don't want to do something that's not fun. I don't want to sit there for 3 hours.
Wait,
you know,
Coach.
Coach, it affects more. Sorry, Marty. Coach, it affects more people than you realize. My grandfather and my aunt both lost a battle with colon cancer. It runs in my family, and through, I'm sure, the money you've raised, I've had some people in my family beat it. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for everything you've done.
Well, you know, the important thing is we're not going to stop. You know, we're going to continue to work at it, and we're going to continue to make, you know, I'd like nothing more than to have a world-class cancer center here in the state of West Virginia, because our people need it. When you think about the occupations there are in this state, people are very prone to cancer here because of black lung and everything else, and it's very near and dear to my heart, and it's something that I'll do as long as I'm here on this earth. I want to continue to try to do my part, obviously, I'm not going to be able to find a cure. I'm not smart enough, but we have people that are working very hard at it. So it's makes you feel good, makes you feel good. When you do something really nice for somebody else, it makes you feel better than when somebody does something really nice for you, quite honestly.
Yep, for sure. So. Yeah, it's an awesome cause. Everyone go donate to that. Before we go, I'm from like Ronkonkoma, New York, where no one knows. I eat frozen food. What the hell is a fish fry?
Well, we fry up fish.
So it's exactly that. Just fry it up.
We fry fish, and actually the food's really good. Surprisingly good. I got the fish idea. I was at Kansas State, and they went out and everybody fished, in the summer and everything, and they cleaned the fish and they froze the fish and they brought it in after a game, an early season game. They brought it in and they're like, "Hey, you need to go down to fish fry and see some people." I go down there having a fish fry at this church, and I'm like, "Where'd you get the fish?" And we caught them. And they caught them all. They froze them. They brought them in. They fried them up, and they donated scholarships to men's basketball from the fish fry. And I thought, what a great idea. So when I came here, I wanted to do it for cancer, obviously, and we got together, and people were absolutely fantastic, and people came in and said, "We'll do the fish." And then other people came in and said, "We'll do this and we'll do this." And all of a sudden it goes to where, we have about 1,100 people.
That's awesome. So, I'm inviting ourselves right now. We'll be at the next fish fry. When everything gets better in the world, we will be there.
Heard the tickets are called to come by. They sell out fast, right, Coach?
They do sell out fast, yeah.
All right, we're going to have to get reserves.
We do know a guy.
That's what I'm hoping for.
We might be talking to one guy that could get us in. Well, we really appreciate your time, Coach. That's awesome. One of my favorite coaches, so it's just great to do. You guys got anything else?
Oh, really appreciate the time, and good luck the rest of the way.
No, I appreciate you guys. Have a great day, and go Mountaineers.
Go Mountaineers.
Let's go Mountaineers. I'm going to get them on board for that chant. Don't you worry.
Sounds good.
We'll keep in touch, Coach. Thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Too. All right. Take care.